We need to set our oven bake at 200 and wait for that to come up to temperature, and needs to stay there for about 10 minutes, and then we're going to shut it off. This is going to give a nice warm, draft-free place for our bread to rise. All right, we're going to make some white bread. It's going to be just sandwich bread, and it'll be delicious. It's a little more precise than having to cook with other things, but with sandwich bread, it's pretty easy to do, but you have to be precise about your measurements. So we're going to start by mixing together milk, water, butter, honey, and yeast, and to a measuring cup. The most important thing is that we get our temperature of our milk and water, put it down in there. I know it's hard for you to see, but I want that to be 110. Right now it's 106. And the water's 103. So I'm going to heat that milk back up in the microwave. Check it again here, see what temperature it is. That's 110, 112, 114. So by the time I add the water, which is also set at about 110, stir that up, and I'm at 110 right perfectly. So now I'm going to add some melted butter. I need to put in 2 tablespoons of melted butter, which I've pre-measured and I've melted it here. So I'm going to add that 2 tablespoons of melted butter. I need to add 3 tablespoons of honey. That's 1. It's hard to do honey because it sticks to the side, so you probably put a little bit more than the 3 tablespoons. That way you know you're getting at least 3 tablespoons for that last one. I'll let it overflow a little bit. Maybe take this spoon here. And then I have to add instant yeast. Don't get the active yeast, get the instant yeast. Instant yeast will make it rise much faster, which makes for a better tasting bread. Otherwise, it can take up to 2 hours with the active yeast. So I'm going to add that to our warm 110 degree. Stir that in and let that yeast come alive. It's going to feed on that sugar. And then I need to put in some salt. I need 2 teaspoons of table salt, not kosher salt here. You want to use 2 teaspoons of table salt. That's 1. That's 2. Just stir those together. Okay, that's good. Those can be set aside. Next, I need to get my flour. And to do that, you need to measure flour by, let's see, start off with my KitchenAid mixer pot, turn that on, and it should go to 0. And I want to go add 18 3/4 ounces of flour. This is all-purpose flour, not bread flour. Don't use bread flour for this. I'll use all-purpose flour. It's 10, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17, there's 18, 3/4. Oops. That's about 18 and a half. Just a little bit more. I want that to be 6. There we go. 18 3/4. All right. The next thing is going to be to incorporate our liquid. And we're going to do that in the KitchenAid with a dough hook. At this point, I had forgot to turn on the recorder, so I missed recording the adding of the liquid to the flour. What I did was put the mixer on a low number 1 setting, and then slowly added the liquid until it got incorporated well. Then I moved it up to medium to where it started kneading the dough, and then eventually you'll see that the dough comes off the hook and then it's ready to take out. We'll just let it keep going until it pulls together. Now I'm going to take it up to medium, which I know seems kind of fast, but you want that dough hook to throw off the dough, and this kneads it better. Okay, so you see it's released itself from the hook. Means it's pretty much ready. We can unlock that, lift it out of there. Scrape it down off the bottom, off the side, I mean. You can't see that, but you see how that's gotten into a nice ball? All right, we're ready for our next step. But actually, we're not ready for the bread pan. This is where we're going to make a ball, and I'm stretching and folding under, stretching the bread into a ball. And I'm going to take some spray and lightly spray the inside of this bowl. I'm going to take my dough, put it face down, rub it around. So it's got a little bit of oil on it. And next I'm going to cover the bowl with some plastic wrap. I want to make sure that's sealed up tight. There's no holes If so, put some more plastic wrap in, but that's sealed up pretty good. Now that's going to go into my preheated oven, which I let it set at 200 for 10 minutes, shut it off, and that's been a while ago, but it should be nice and warm for this bread to rise. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in. You can see I put that on the bottom rack, and we're going to let that set in there and rise. Okay, that's been rising in the oven for about 50 minutes, so it's really ready to go. So now we need to get that ready for the pan, and then we're going to let it rise one more time. So let's go ahead and get that beautiful dough out of there. I'm going to dump it out onto my sheet. I'm going to press this into about an 8-inch square. Which is about the size of my pan that I'm going to put it in. While I'm at it, let me go ahead and spray to the inside of this pan. And then you want to roll it towards you, pinching the dough off. Just keep rolling it towards yourself. And then turn it up. We're going to pinch that seam. You want to get it to the right size. And I want to put that seam down and press it into all 4 corners. Then we want to put some plastic wrap over the top of that. And it's going to go back in the oven for about 30 more minutes till it's doubled in size. So you can see we have it in the oven. It's still warm. And we'll let it sit there for another half hour and come back and check it, but we want that to double in size. In the meantime, just before 15 minutes before that bread's risen for the second time, I'm going to boil about 2-3 cups of water, and I'm going to put that in a pan on the bottom rack. This is so I can get a crust on the bread. I'll show that to you when I'm boiling it now. So once that's hot, then I'll pour that into a baking pan on the bottom of a shelf, and then move the bread to a middle shelf. Okay, we can now see that's more than doubled in size. So we now need to heat the oven up and put our water bath in the bottom. So let's go do that. Okay, so now I want to heat the oven to bake at 350. So once that comes up to temperature, we'll be able to put that bread back in there. And now I'm going to pour that boiling hot water, about 2 cups, into that bottom rack pan. And then we're going to put the bread on the top rack. So let me get that oven to heat up to 350. It's preheating right now, so we'll wait till that comes to full temperature. Okay, we're ready to put this bread. Okay, we can take it out of the oven, and I'm going to dump it out and place it on this cooling rack. Now it's very tempting to go ahead and get a slice and put some butter on it, but you can't slice into freshly baked bread. You got to let it set for at least 10 minutes at room temperature. Otherwise, you're going to release all the steam and it will not be as, I don't know, the structure will not hold up correctly. So you got to let it sit there for 10 minutes. I know it smells incredible, but just wait 10 minutes. Okay, it's time to cut into this beautiful loaf of bread. I'm going to cut an end piece off here. Looks pretty good. Soft. Nice crust on it. And I'm going to put some butter on there. Come on, I like lots of butter. That looks pretty darn good to me. So I'll give it a try. That's good. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.